Yellowstone Live Camera captures something strange. Yellowstone National Park, one of America's most cherished natural wonders, is renowned not only for its majestic geysers and diverse wildlife, but also for the mysteries that occasionally unfold within its vast, untamed wilderness. Over the years, numerous unexplained sightings have emerged from the park, adding an air of intrigue to its already rich history. Among the most talked about incidents in recent years is the unusual appearance of what appeared to be a mysterious humanoid figure captured on one of the park's official live cameras. The event, which quickly spread across social media and online forums, sparked a heated debate and reignited interest in the enduring legend of Bigfoot. Yellowstone's live cams, operated by the National Park Service, are widely appreciated by nature lovers and researchers for providing a window into the daily rhythms of wildlife. Strategically positioned throughout the park, these cameras capture everything from migrating bison to serene landscapes, and they have become a valuable tool for education and conservation. However, on one particular day, the cameras recorded something that deviated dramatically from the usual footage of elk or grizzly bears. Viewers watching the live stream were stunned when, near a common grazing ground for bison, 4 towering bipedal figures appeared in view. These figures, all covered in what seemed to be dark hair, moved in a coordinated fashion across the snow-dusted terrain. Observers noted that the figures were much taller than any human, and they walked with an upright, fluid motion that seemed both natural and deliberate. The bison in the area showed no signs of panic, which further puzzled viewers, as one might expect some level of reaction from such large and sensitive animals. As the creatures walked across the open space, those watching were transfixed. Social media comments and messages flooded in, and screen recordings of the footage began circulating almost immediately. However, the moment did not last long. Just as the figures reached the edge of the camera's frame, the live cam abruptly zoomed out and then cut off completely. The stream ended without explanation, leaving viewers both frustrated and captivated. The sudden ending of the live feed only fueled more speculation. Some suggested that a technical glitch had occurred, while others believed that park officials might have intentionally disabled the camera. This abrupt conclusion added a sense of mystery and urgency to the footage, as many began to question what exactly had been captured and why the camera was so quickly shut off. For believers in the existence of Bigfoot, the incident represented one of the most compelling pieces of evidence to emerge in recent years. Unlike many blurry cell phone videos or anecdotal stories, this footage came from a highly respected and official source, a government-operated live cam at a national park. The credibility of the source lent an unusual weight to the footage and prompted renewed discussions within communities dedicated to unexplained phenomena. Skeptics, on the other hand, offered alternative explanations. Some argued that the figures were simply people in heavy winter clothing, possibly researchers or hikers caught on camera from a distance, causing distortion in size and movement. Others speculated that the footage may have been tampered with, or that natural shadows and lighting could have created the illusion of something unusual. Despite the differing views, what cannot be denied is the impact that the incident had on public imagination. The story of the Yellowstone humanoids rapidly gained traction, not only in online communities, but also in mainstream media outlets that picked up on the viral footage. The allure of the unknown, especially when presented in such an unexpected and official context, captivated audiences and reignited age-old questions about what might be lurking in the remote corners of the wilderness. Some researchers and enthusiasts also pointed out the symbolic nature of the location. Yellowstone, with its vast forests, geysers, and remote valleys, has long been a place associated with legends and untold stories. From Native American folklore to modern-day accounts of strange creatures, the park has always held a certain mystique. This recent sighting only added another layer to that rich tapestry of mystery. The footage also sparked discussions about the role of public surveillance, transparency, and the possible suppression of unusual findings. Some wondered whether more unexplained events have been captured on park cameras, only to be withheld from the public. The incident served as a reminder of how little is truly known about the deep wilderness areas and what secrets they may still hold. In the days and weeks following the event, official statements were limited. No formal explanation was offered for the camera shutdown, and park representatives remained quiet about what exactly had been recorded. This silence only added to the speculation and prompted further investigation by independent researchers. some of whom traveled to Yellowstone in hopes of uncovering more clues. Whether the figures captured on the Yellowstone Live Cam were a group of unknown creatures, a trick of the light, or something entirely explainable, the mystery continues to stir conversation. It serves as a potent example of how even in a world filled with modern technology and constant surveillance, there are still moments that defy explanation, moments that challenge our understanding of nature and our place within it. In the end, the Yellowstone Live Cam sighting remains one of the most intriguing and debated mysteries of recent years. Mysterious noises heard around Yellowstone. Yellowstone National Park is known for its untamed landscapes, geothermal marvels, and expansive wilderness. Yet one of its most mysterious and haunting features lies not in what can be seen, but in what can be heard. Known as lake music, this unexplained auditory phenomenon has fascinated and puzzled visitors and experts alike for well over a century. The sounds, often described as eerie whistles, moans, or low mechanical hums, seem to rise from the depths of Yellowstone Lake, echoing across the still waters with a tone that defies explanation. The first documented account of these mysterious sounds dates back to the year 1872, when F.H. Bradley, a member of the Hayden expedition, noted a strange noise while having breakfast near the lake. He described it as something between a whistle and a hoarse whine. Despite listening carefully, neither he nor his fellow explorers could identify the source. In the 150 years since that moment, the sounds have never been fully explained, though they have been heard by many. At the turn of the 19th century, Captain Hiram Chittenden, a military engineer known for his factual and undramatic reports, also recorded the strange phenomenon. He described it as a singular and interesting acoustic phenomenon and noted its strange overhead quality. Despite his typically rational tone, Chittenden allowed his imagination to wander, suggesting that perhaps a mythical creature lived beneath the lake, singing a lonely and distant song. While clearly speculative, his words captured the deep emotional impact the sounds had on those who experienced them. More recently, Christine Brunsman, a supervisory park ranger, shared her own experiences with the haunting lake music. Over the course of 3 winters, she had the opportunity to hear the strange sounds firsthand. In the winters of 2018 and 2019, she described the noises as dull and mechanical, reminiscent of corrugated metal or the distant hum of an aircraft engine. However, in December of 2020, the sounds shifted dramatically. She described hearing ethereal tones, musical and otherworldly, including whomps, woos, and sounds similar to sonar pings or underwater whale calls. These noises, so unexpected and haunting, gave her goosebumps and left a lasting impression. Since the 1970s, reports of the lake music have become more frequent, yet no definitive explanation has been found. Visitors to Yellowstone Lake have offered countless descriptions: the sound of buzzing bees, metal poles clanging, or even the tones of a distant pipe organ. The one thing everyone agrees on is that the sounds are real, unsettling, and inexplicably beautiful. Several theories have been suggested over the years. One of the more grounded explanations is that minor seismic activity might be responsible. Yellowstone sits atop a vast and active volcanic system, and small shifts beneath the earth could produce acoustic effects that resonate through the lake's waters and surrounding air. Another theory posits that whirlpools of air created by changing temperatures or wind patterns might generate the sounds as they interact with the lake's surface. Despite these scientific attempts to explain the mystery, none of the theories have been proven. The sounds often seem to come from nowhere, and they move and change in ways that do not neatly align with natural forces. Even advanced acoustic equipment and monitoring have yet to capture a clear origin. Adding another layer of intrigue is the history of human tragedy associated with Yellowstone Lake. Since the year 1894, more than 40 individuals have lost their lives in the lake. Many of these incidents involved capsized canoes or kayaks, and the frigid temperatures of the water meant that survival was often out of reach. The lake's surface can appear calm and welcoming, but its unpredictable weather and hidden currents have made it one of the most dangerous areas in the park. Some have begun to wonder whether the mysterious lake music could somehow be connected to these tragedies. While there is no scientific support for such a theory, the eerie combination of unexplained sounds and the lake's somber history has led to speculation. Could the lake be echoing memories of the past, Or are the sounds simply part of a natural process we do not yet understand? These questions remain unanswered, and perhaps that is part of the allure. Yellowstone Lake is not just a body of water, it is a place of immense natural power, steeped in beauty, mystery, and legend. The haunting sounds that occasionally drift across its surface continue to captivate those who hear them. Whether caused by shifting ice, geothermal activity, or something far stranger, the phenomenon known as lake music reminds us that even in the modern age, nature holds secrets that we have yet to unravel. For now, those who visit Yellowstone and hear its song carry the mystery with them. It is a reminder of the wildness of the world, of forces we cannot fully explain, and of the quiet, unseen rhythms that pulse beneath the surface of even the calmest waters. In the stillness of winter, when the snow falls gently and the wind drops, the lake may sing once more, and in that fleeting, haunting melody, Yellowstone whispers a story that only nature knows. The Mystery of James Puit. James Puit, a 70-year-old resident from the sunny state of Tennessee, vanished without a trace during a solo outing to the Rocky Mountain National Park in Colorado. His disappearance in early March of 2019 has remained one of the more puzzling cases to emerge from this vast and unforgiving wilderness. What began as a typical hiking trip soon escalated into a full-scale search operation, and despite valiant efforts, no concrete answers have ever been found. The first signs of trouble emerged on the morning of the 3rd of March, when park rangers discovered Puit's vehicle abandoned at the Glacier Gorge trailhead. This location, known for its scenic trails and glacial vistas, is often a starting point for hikers hoping to enjoy the natural beauty of the region. However, in Puit's case, it became a stark symbol of mystery and concern. Upon investigating further, rangers learned that James had not been in contact with any family members since the 28th of February. This gap in communication only heightened the concern, confirming that he had likely been missing for several days already by the time his car was found. The alarm was raised quickly, and within hours, a massive search operation was underway. But conditions were far from ideal. Just days before Puit was reported missing, a significant snowstorm had blanketed the park with nearly 2 feet of snow. Combined with the rugged and uneven terrain of the area, the task ahead was both physically demanding and logistically complex. Rangers and volunteers worked tirelessly, covering an estimated 15 square miles of challenging terrain. Their efforts included the use of trained search dogs, drones, and helicopters, each scouring the snowy expanse for any sign of the missing pensioner. Between the 3rd and 8th of March, every corner of the area surrounding Glacier Gorge was examined. Teams searched around lakes, glaciers, steep gorges, and forested hills, hoping to find even a trace of clothing or gear. Yet despite these extensive efforts, there was nothing. No footprints, no discarded items, and no indication of where Puit had gone. It was as if he had simply vanished into the white silence of the mountains. As the harsh winter conditions persisted, the decision was made to temporarily suspend the active search by mid-March. It was a difficult choice, but safety concerns and the absence of new leads meant there was little more that could be done at that time. The family and community were left in painful limbo, caught between hope and sorrow. With the arrival of summer, however, the search resumed with renewed energy. Park officials hoped that as the snow melted and trails reopened, new evidence might surface. Summer also brought an influx of visitors. More than 2 million people visit Rocky Mountain National Park each year, and with this came the possibility that a hiker or camper might inadvertently come across something related to the case. Search teams returned to specific areas of interest, focusing their efforts where conditions had improved. Yet again, hope yielded to disappointment. Despite the warmer weather and an increased number of eyes on the landscape, the summer months passed without a single breakthrough. There was no trace of Puit, and no new information came forward from the public. The mystery only deepened. In October of 2019, a different approach was taken. Instead of concentrating on high-traffic areas, teams shifted their focus to remote, off-trail regions of the park. These lesser-traveled zones offered a glimmer of hope. Perhaps Puit had unintentionally wandered away from the main trail, and the clues to his disappearance remained untouched. Rangers carefully explored these secluded paths, but even this renewed strategy failed to produce answers. The resilient teams who had spent months tirelessly searching were once again left with only questions. Finally, on the 26th of November, park officials made a sobering announcement. According to Public Information Officer Kyle Patterson, no further active searches would be conducted. Instead, authorities would rely on the public to report any findings that could relate to the case. It was a difficult but necessary decision. After months of searching and numerous strategies, the trail had gone cold. As of 2021, James Puit remains missing. Occasional reminders on social media urge hikers and visitors to remain vigilant, but with each passing season, the chances of finding meaningful evidence diminish. While the official search may have ended, those closest to James continue to hold on to his memory, hoping that one day some piece of information will bring closure to a case that has haunted both family and park staff alike. The disappearance of James Puit serves as a somber reminder of nature's unpredictability. Even in a modern world filled with technology and advanced search techniques, the wilderness can still conceal its secrets with ease. For those who explore its beauty, it is a humbling lesson in caution and respect, and for the family of James Puit, it is a deeply personal story of love, loss, and the hope that some answers may one day emerge from the silence of the mountains. Austin King. Yellowstone National Park, a vast and rugged landscape of geothermal wonders, towering peaks, and expansive wilderness, has long captured the imaginations of adventurers and explorers. Yet for one young man, what began as a personal challenge and celebration of nature turned into a deeply haunting mystery, one that has left his family and the search teams desperate for answers. Austin King, a 22-year-old employee of Yellowstone, vanished during a solo trek through the park's unforgiving terrain. Weeks later, his father has released a chilling note found on the mountain summit, the last words Austin is known to have written. Austin embarked on his ambitious journey on the 14th of September. He was dropped off by boat at Terrace Point and planned a 7-day solo hike through the Yellowstone backcountry. His route would take him through some of the park's most remote and demanding landscapes, culminating at the summit of Eagle Peak, the tallest mountain in Yellowstone, standing at approximately 3,500 meters. On the 16th of September, Austin encountered a backcountry ranger near Howell Creek Cabin. This brief interaction was the last time he was confirmed to have been seen. The following day, on the 17th of September, he reached the summit of Eagle Peak and made contact with his family to share his accomplishment. It would be the last time they would hear from him. Austin's return was scheduled for the 20th of September, when he was to be picked up by boat at Grant Village, where he had been living while working for Xanterra Parks and Resorts. When he did not arrive, concern grew rapidly. His disappearance sparked an extensive and emotional search operation led by the National Park Service. Search dogs, aerial surveillance, drones, and more than 100 volunteers were deployed to comb the massive snow-covered wilderness. Despite these efforts, days turned into weeks, and no sign of Austin emerged, until a haunting discovery on Eagle Peak shed new light on his final moments. In the summit registry found at the top of Eagle Peak, Austin had left a note, a deeply emotional and honest reflection of his harrowing ascent. The entry detailed the extreme conditions he faced: freezing winds, heavy fog, rain, sleet, and hail. His handwriting revealed the strain of the climb, with words describing how he could no longer feel his fingers and how his glasses had become fogged due to the relentless weather. He wrote that he had free-soloed multiple cliffs and admitted to taking an incorrect route to the peak. Yet, even amidst this struggle, his spirit shone through in his final words. "Life is beautiful. Get out and live it," he concluded, followed by a simple smiley face and his signature. The note was a powerful mixture of triumph and tragedy, a testament to Austin's adventurous soul and a reminder of nature's unpredictable and unforgiving power. His father, Brian King Henker, later released the note to the public, hoping to bring awareness to the ongoing search and to honor his son's memory. He described listening to a voicemail Austin had left him from the summit, a message he hadn't been able to bring himself to hear until a week after his son went missing. Brian spoke of his son with deep admiration and heartbreak. Austin, he said, was someone full of energy, kindness, and an infectious love for the outdoors. He was a role model to his younger brother, a loyal friend, and someone who approached life with a sense of wonder. The idea that he had vanished in a place he cherished so deeply only made the pain more profound. Although the weather turned again in early October, bringing snow and complicating search efforts, the mission to locate Austin did not stop. Brian, unwilling to rest, took the search into his own hands. He organized volunteers through social media, launched a GoFundMe campaign, and reached out to every corner of the hiking and outdoor community for support. His efforts paid off, with more than 100 individuals joining the effort, scouring the park for clues and refusing to let Austin's story fade away. The National Park Service officially confirmed on the 2nd of October that the ongoing search spanned a radius of more than 3,200 miles. Teams on the ground continued to investigate remote regions, especially areas previously covered by snow. Superintendent Cam Sholly expressed his commitment to the operation, emphasizing that no resource would be spared in the pursuit of finding Austin. Despite the mounting days since his disappearance, Brian King Henker has remained hopeful, driven by the strength of his son's character and the community's overwhelming support. He called the response an army, a force of people brought together by compassion, resilience, and a shared belief that Austin deserved to come home. As of now, the mystery remains unsolved. The rugged terrain of Yellowstone holds its secrets tightly. But what has emerged through this tragedy is a portrait of a young man who lived fully, loved deeply, and left behind not just a mystery, but a message, one etched in ink at the summit of a mountain, now carried in the hearts of all who search for him. Austin King's disappearance is not just a story of a hike gone wrong. It is a reflection of the fragile balance between human spirit and nature's might. His final words echo far beyond the slopes of Eagle Peak. They are a call to embrace life, to cherish every moment, and to find beauty even in struggle. As his father continues to lead efforts in the search for his son, one thing is certain: Austin King has not been forgotten. His voice, his bravery, and his note on that mountaintop will continue to inspire those who hear his story. And perhaps, someday soon, the mountains of Yellowstone will offer up an answer. Until then, his family and the many people touched by his story will continue to hope, search, and remember the young man who reached for the summit with everything he had and reminded us all how precious it is to live. The strange case of Mickey OConnor. Over 250,000 individuals are reported missing every year, with estimates of actual missing persons cases that are left unreported pushing that total to more than an expected 300,000 cases annually. With that many reports, it is no wonder that a vast majority of these cases are left unsolved. However, every now and then there are a series of missing cases that emerge that are so peculiar, they become the subject of impossible to explain theories. Known as the Missing 411, there appears to be a substantial number of missing persons cases relating to the disappearances of individuals from national parks. In fact, many of these Missing 411 cases are believed to not be investigated too deeply, as some form of supernatural or paranormal cover-up takes place in these undisturbed locations. Less than 10 miles from the Montana and South Dakota state border, the disappearance of 3-year-old Mickey OConnor was considered to be one of the most perplexing missing persons reports made during the late 1940s that investigators would openly admit to investigators that they were absolutely baffled by the disappearance. According to the official report, on the 9th of October, back in 1948, Mickey OConnor's mother, a woman by the name of Mrs. Joe OConnor, would be home alone with her 3-year-old son when he would suddenly vanish while playing alone in the living room. In the late afternoon hours, Mrs. Joe OConnor would tell investigators that as she was doing chores around the household, she would soon notice that Mickey was nowhere to be found within the small home. He had last been seen playing with his toys on the living room floor, with his toys resting gently on the ground with no sign of Mickey anywhere nearby. After checking the house for the young 3-year-old boy, Mrs. Joe OConnor started to worry that her son may have accidentally exited the home and disappeared into the nearby woods within the few minutes that she had spent in another room. Panicked at the thought, Mrs. Joe OConnor would immediately exit her home and search the surrounding area while calling out to her 3-year-old son. At the time of Mickey OConnor's disappearance, the boy's father was far away from the home, living out of the state of Washington, located more than 500 miles away, leaving Mrs. Joe OConnor without help while searching for their missing son. After spending roughly half an hour looking for Mickey, Joe O'Connor would quickly contact the local law enforcement agency from both nearby towns, as well as the United States Forest Service, in the hopes of getting assistance in locating her missing son. Once the law enforcement agencies were notified of the disappearance, however, rather than wasting time sending only a few officers to investigate the sudden vanishing, the agencies would immediately begin a combined effort to conduct one of the largest search and rescue operations ever conducted within the state of Wyoming at the time of the vanishing. Within the hour of Joe O'Connor contacting the agencies, United States Forest Service agent George Gorsuch would quickly arrive at the O'Connor residence and begin organizing the search efforts. Working as the supervising ranger for the operation and taking command of several other agents and law enforcement officers, as well as teams of volunteer search and rescue members. Although the sun would soon set as search efforts began, the volunteers would spend the full first night exploring the bordering woodlands and calling out to Mickey in the hopes of finding the young 3-year-old boy within a couple miles of the home. Despite working through the night and lighting several fires in the area to attract the young boy back home, no sign of the boy was ever found. By the following morning, local newspapers would print several articles about the missing child and the bizarre nature of his disappearance, including the fact that Mickey OConnor appeared to disappear within the span of only 5 minutes, while playing less than a few dozen feet away from his mother, who was doing chores in another room. Given the strange nature of the case, several hundred local residents from both nearby Wyoming towns would join the search and rescue efforts, and by the following afternoon, more than 800 volunteers would join the organized efforts to recover Mickey OConnor and would completely cover the entire area surrounding the O'Connor residence. In fact, the search efforts were so detailed and the number of volunteers was so great, the grids of long lines of volunteers, walking within arm's reach of each other, would cover more than 6 miles of radius neighboring the home. Additionally, while volunteers assisted with efforts on the ground, 3 local pilots and private businesses would join the search by utilizing privately owned airplanes and helicopters to help search over vast areas and potential hotspots for recovery, checking any open fields, mountainsides, or wide-open clearings in the trees. Pilots would also help to guide United States Forest Service rangers by marking any areas where wild animals or signs of wild animals were spotted, allowing United States Forest Service rangers to investigate those areas and hunt down any nearby wild animals in the hopes of gathering any evidence surrounding Mickey's disappearance. By the 3rd day of Mickey's disappearance, a parallel investigation made by United States Forest Service agents would tell the local press that there were no bears anywhere near the area for at least several hundred miles, and that it was unlikely that Mickey had been attacked by a roaming bear. Unfortunately, United States Forest Service rangers would express concern at the large number of wild hogs and mountain lions believed to have been in the region, and believed that it could have been highly plausible that the species had attacked and devoured Mickey OConnor if he had left his home during the afternoon. This would lead to investigators hunting down and gutting the wild hogs and mountain lions in the hopes of locating any evidence to support the theory that Mickey may have been attacked by the animals. However, no evidence was ever recovered, and many of the wild hogs and mountain lions gutted had empty stomachs due to the coming winter months and natural food resource shortages. Despite the large number of wild animals neighboring the region, investigators were more concerned about the plummeting nighttime temperatures, as temperatures would often fall to 10 degrees below freezing through the night. Given the fact that the mother told the investigators that Mickey had last been seen wearing only a light t-shirt and overalls, it was unlikely that the boy would be able to survive through the growing winter nights. On the 13th of October, an article was published in the local newspaper known as the Montana Daily Interlaker that would describe the growing frustrations of the investigators on the case. The article would write that the young 3-year-old boy most likely wandered from the ranch home, but there was no evidence uncovered that supported that theory. In fact, the doors to the home had remained locked at all times, and expert trackers were unable to find any tracks or clues anywhere in or around the property line that could help investigators prove that Mickey OConnor had wandered from the ranch house. The United States Forest Service Ranger Charles Gorsuch would tell reporters that he was absolutely baffled by the disappearance, telling the local press that the boy's sudden vanishing was impossible to explain. Charles Gorsuch later stated that the only working theory investigators had considered involved the possibility that Mickey had been taken under suspicious circumstances, though no evidence was ever found to support that theory. According to investigators, the home of the O'Connor family rested at the furthest northeastern section of the state of Wyoming, right on the borders of both South Dakota and Montana. Although the property was located in a largely isolated area with thick forests and mountains surrounding the region, the O'Connor home rests in the middle point between two pretty popular tourist towns and alongside a busy 8-mile stretch of highway known as Highway 24. At the time of the sudden disappearance, the deer hunting season was open for the state of Wyoming, and it was not uncommon for hunters to pass through the area while hunting for deer. This would lead investigators to theorize that perhaps a vacationing hunter had passed near the ranch and took the 3-year-old boy, despite the fact that no evidence or tracks supported the theory. By the 4th day of the disappearance, a special investigative team sent from the nearby South Dakota Air Force Base would arrive on scene and take control from the United States Forest Service Rangers regarding the incident. More than 50 Air Force men would be on the ground searching for the boy, as other teams flew state-of-the-art aerial equipment over the region to help with reconnaissance. For reasons not entirely understood, the Air Force teams would focus their search efforts more than 10 miles away from the home, at a local mountain referred to as the Bear Lodge Mountain. The area would continue for another 2 days, off Highway 24 and near County Road 204, before the Air Force would terminate the search due to lack of evidence. The decision to terminate the investigation would frustrate the local Crook County Sheriff Department and the United States Forest Service Ranger Charles Gorsuch, who both felt it was too early to terminate the search, and that the significant lack of evidence required all agencies to continue pursuing the investigation. Despite such feelings, the official search for Mickey OConnor would terminate on the 14th of October, and no sign of the missing 3-year-old boy was ever recovered.